Hey guys, Tisha here, and I'm back with another Queens of R&B, SWV, and Escape review. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna go through all of this. I'm gonna add some points here and there. I'm gonna skip some of it because all of the bickering back and forth was a bit much for me, but we're gonna do this. So we start the show with Tamika calling Tasha, telling her that she wants to talk. And I find it to be extremely telling that Tamika was the one that reached out to Tasha. I don't understand why Tasha didn't reach out to Tamika. So Tamika talks about how Tasha came to soundcheck in Orlando, that she's glad she did. And I don't understand why Tamika gets praises for that, because that's her job. We then see Coco organizing her closet, and we see Taj beginning to do a striptease for her husband on FaceTime. And he lets her know after she takes her top off that their son is there. I thought it was kind of cute because to me, that's reality. I really like Taj. Taj is somebody that I feel like I've liked more and more as the years have gone by, just because she just seems like someone that you would just have a good time with. We see Tasha in the studio playing her song, looking all happy with Rocky there. And as the song was playing, I thought to myself, this is the only way that I'm going to listen to this song, because I'm not going to be downloading it. I have no desire to support Latasha at this point whatsoever. I can not like her from a distance. I'm not going on her page and calling her a liar. I'm not watching her lives from her page or anything else like that. I just don't like the way that she's maneuvered through this whole situation. Tamika walks in and Rocky says, "What up, Meek?" And she looks around like she didn't hear him and gives him a dry hey. The sisters do their pleasantries. Rocky and the engineer, I guess that was in there, walked out. Tamika lets Tasha know that she apologized to her mother for cursing in the house. And I don't understand why she felt like she needed to tell her that. And I'm sure that Tasha already knew. Tasha then plays victim, as she does so well, asking, how did they even get here? Lady, we are not about to sit here and act like we don't understand how you guys got here. I can tell y'all how y'all got here just by watching these couple of episodes, not even including the other things that we've already seen on your own independent show. You know how you got here. At this point, we find out that it's been 3 months of them not talking, because Tamika says that there's no reason why we should have gone 3 months without talking, which further proves that this show didn't cause the rift. You see, Tasha in a lot of her interviews is blaming the show and blaming the fact that all she just wanted to do was sing gospel. And because she wanted to sing gospel, now this is what she's getting. When you guys already had issues before that. The fact that it's been all these years and they're still continuing to have the problems that they're having, to me, shows that their family is very problematic. And by they, I'm talking about the sisters. Tamika says that both of us said things that were hurtful. And then Tasha says, people say things, you say things all the time, but I'm not holding on to it. Yes, you are. The problem with Tasha is that Tasha listens to respond. She doesn't listen to understand. She wants to take in exactly what you said and fire it back at you, rather than really taking the time to marinate on it and listen to what you're saying. Tasha talks about them needing to get their sisterhood back and that they've had rifts before, and whenever they get back together, they're stronger than before. She's crying a little bit, so she seems, because she's doing like this, doing her spill about family being everything. And I didn't understand the point in them meeting up, because they didn't address the issue. If they did, we didn't see it. We didn't see Tamika bring back up the receipts. We didn't see Tamika talk back about the $30K that was stolen. We saw none of that. All we saw was them doing surface level, which shows that that's the issue. You all don't handle your problems. Your mother has taught you that it's just the three of you, and because it was the three of you, you all struggle, but the three of you can get through anything. And I'm so tired of this woe is me. My daddy left, and it was just me, my mom, and my sister. And as a result, we learned inappropriate ways to deal with our problems. And my mother coddled me, and my mother resented my sister because my sister looks like my father, or because my sister just reminds my mother of something that my mother doesn't like. Or my sister is the problematic one because she had a child when she was young. I just don't quite get it. And I feel like because you're not really addressing the issue, I don't want to keep hearing that, woe is me. We've all been through things. We've all had certain lives. That doesn't mean that it's an excuse to exhibit the behavior that we're seeing. Tasha didn't apologize for anything in the meeting. Once again, Tamika lowered herself for her sister. If you did me wrong, I'm not asking you for a hug or complimenting you or brushing stuff under the rug with you. Sorry, I'm not sorry. That's just not how I operate. If you did me wrong, we're going to address it. I may forgive you. Well, let me not say, well, yeah, I may forgive you, but I'm not going to deal with you in the same manner that I once did. And I feel like they need this time apart that they're having, because Tamika needs to learn to stand on her own. We then see a bunch of dancers, and all the ladies arrive with the exception of Candy, we see a montage where they're basically saying like who's the best dancer in the group, and they say it's Taj, and SWV says it's Taj, and XSCAPE says, well, Tamika says it's her. Worst dancer Candy, Lily says she's not the best. We then see Coco bringing up that all the dancers that they picked are great dancers, but she's not really sure about it because they have less than 2 weeks to get routines and dance moves together. And that to me explains why the clips that I saw of this show to me weren't that great. It seemed like, now the ladies sounded good, don't get me wrong. The sound was great, but the transition seemed a little off to me. And if they had less than 2 weeks and we see them arguing about who's going to sing what, when, and where, I could understand why the transition looked the way it looked to me. We see Taj get up and she break dances. It's a cute moment. We then see the ladies, because I'm not going to go through all that. We then see the ladies of SWV meet up. Lily talks about how hard it is to write erotica. Taj talks about how after she read 50 Shades of Grey, that she told her husband, go get a lot of the stuff that they read about. We see Coco saying that Lily is a freak and she will be good. I like the moments where the ladies are together. I like seeing them meet up with each other. I feel like it's cute and it's endearing because it just lets you see how, in my opinion, you can tell that SWV is in a different place than they were before and watching previous episodes. We then see Taj is telling them about the meeting that she had with Tamika and how they at some point began debating which song should be the last song. Of course, both groups feel that their song should be the last song. Tamika brings up how Tiny and Candy have precedence, so they're going to give more ticket sales. She also talks about how they have a larger following, and this debate to me is old. Taj relays what it said to Coco, and Coco's response is that Tamika's not irrelevant. Lily then said, did you tell her that Tiny and Candy's butt are for her to kiss, not them, and that they have a well-oiled machine at this point, even before the two of them have gotten together? Lily says SWV sold more records and week should close. I will say this. I agree. Week should close. I don't really like understanding that much. The best part of understanding is when Candy hits that high note. That's like, I fast forwarded through parts just to get that little break. I tried so very hard. And then Candy and her hoo 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 hoo. That's gonna sound crazy on the recording, but I tried, and that's it. I don't care about the rest. We see Tamika meet up, Tiny's Tamika. We see Tiny meet up with her daughter, Zanique. I always say her name wrong. And she gives like a little background of her and how she's a singer and all these other things. And she says that she really wishes that she brought her family to see them perform in Orlando. They do a flashback of Orlando. And then she asks her little sister, who is 6, how did mom do? And I thought Harris' response was so cute because she was like, mom did so spectacular. She's 6 years old. And she really seems like she is going to be a big entertainer. And I don't just mean like by singing. She has so much personality that they need to put her in things. Kids nowadays are not built the way that kids used to be. They're so much more with the times. Like, I feel like the universe has equipped them to be ready when they come out. Because look at babies, when you hold, I'm going on a tangent, but I'm gonna finish this off. Babies, when they come out of the womb, you hold their neck. I remember my son, he was 2 days old and he was turning around all over the place, and like I'm trying to support his head and he bobbing like trying to get away. It's just, kids now, they do things at a different speed. Tiny talks about how Tasha actually came and she had good energy. She then says that she can see where her energy has shifted, and how in the past, Candy did say that Tasha uses them to get to a certain point, and when she's at the height, she acts like she doesn't need them. So she said that even before they got back together, Candy had expressed that she feels like it's going to happen all over again. And she ends up saying in her confessional, like, Candy was right. This is exactly what's happening. She's at whatever point she needs, and she's acting like she doesn't need us, which is interesting to me because in Tasha's live, I always struggle with their names. In Tasha's live, she said that Tiny like pushed her to do gospel and she was the reason why she wanted to do it. So you say that your group doesn't support you in all these things, when I'm not doubting that Tiny didn't say to do it, but I'm sure that Tiny didn't expect you to throw them to the wayside in doing it. So for her to say that, you know, you use them and then leave them, it just further confirms what Candy's been saying this whole time. She said that they're going to be taking some dates with just the 3 of them. And when they had practice a couple weeks ago, Tamika did all her sister parts and she's killing it. And from what I've seen, she is killing it. We then see a clip of Lily bringing her grandpuppy to the groomer where she's getting the VIP treatment for her grandpuppy, but she has to wash the dog. I thought the whole point of the groomer was so that you drop them off and they do everything. If I wanted to wash my dog, I could wash my dog at the house. It's like my boyfriend. When my boyfriend goes and takes care of his dog, he drops him off at the groomer. We pick him up, and that's the end of it. Like, they do everything. I'm not washing a dog if I'm bringing him to the groomer. That's going to be an included service. So pay a little bit more. Okay. Lily has a talk with her sister saying that she met up with, I guess, Tiny, and they talked more about clothing and stuff. And she says that XSCAPE dresses more riskier than them. She talks about how XSCAPE, she feels like XSCAPE feels like they're better than them, that there's just a lot of conflict. There's so much ego in this situation that I don't really want to do the whole back and forth, because we both know that both groups feel like they should be the main attraction. Coco and Candy meet up with Steven, who is meeting up with them to talk about the set list. And we were introduced to him originally as like the graphic person. So I'm assuming that he needs to know the set list for the purposes of his graphic designs so that he can create them in a way that it could flow smoothly from song to song. He goes over the list, and Coco has some objections on the first song that her group is singing, as well as XSCAPE singing Understanding as the last song. She says that some of the transitions from their group songs to her group songs are ugly, that it's boring and sleepy. And I said this before, and I don't even know if I said it in a review, but to me, this is my opinion. To me, I prefer SWV's music. SWV's music is more upbeat. I have never been somebody who listens to a whole bunch of straight mellow R&B. That's not my thing. I'll listen to it from time to time, like if I'm in a mood, but like if I'm riding around in the car, I'll play SWV before I play XSCAPE. That's just me. I do feel like Coco knows that their songs are slower, so I don't even know why she said that it was boring and sleepy. She went in there with a different type of energy, probably because of the talk that she had with Taj and Lily. I don't, you could tell when Coco's not feeling it. It's all at her face. Candy said that Coco's being real difficult, and this is the real Coco. I already said I'm with Coco on the last song. Weak, regardless if Candy and Tiny and all of them have more followers or not, Weak goes harder. I feel like Weak is one of those songs that whether you've been on TV or not, if you hear it, and this is all over the world, you know it. You might not know the whole thing, but you know that chorus. Candy already said that part about her being difficult. Coco lets it be known that it doesn't really matter what Candy and her group thinks, that they want to do the song that they want to do last, and that their group is not changing their mind. We then see no conclusion to that. We see that all the ladies meet up because they're heading to the designer. We see Jay in the car with his mother and Taj. And when they ask him what he thinks, he said that he hopes that whatever the designer does, that he needs to cater to the individual styles. Well said, Jay, because that's what it boils down to. It's clear that SWV and XSCAPE dress in different ways. I don't feel like they should shade each other for it. I just feel like that they have a different style, and their audiences understand that. Everything does not have to be bodycon, and everybody isn't comfortable being in bodycon. So if that's what SWV wants to wear, is no bodycon and XSCAPE wants to wear bodycon, then more power to them. But I don't feel like it should be a judgment thing. We then see that Jay says that he decided to go back to school because he doesn't want to have any regrets for not continuing his education. And Taj said he could be a singing dentist. And I feel like him making that decision on his own was imperative. I also feel like it says a lot that Coco, even though she didn't agree with it, was willing to let him take a little bit of time before going back. I'm glad he decided to do it, because we can say what we want to say. Education is important. There are people who are not educated who make really good money, but you have to have a certain type of drive for that. And at the end of the day, he has something to fall back on. We see Kandi and Tiny in the car, and Candy's telling Tiny that after the last conversation that she had with Coco, seems like they don't want to do the show if they can't have the last song. And Tiny basically says the same thing that Coco said, well, neither one of us are budging, so that's that. I don't feel like these two groups need to work together again. I just don't. Even aside from all the stuff that's going on in social media realm now, I just seeing this, because I stopped reading because I didn't want to see them going back and forth. Just seeing this alone, they don't need to work together. All the ladies arrive and the designer shows them sketches. Lily is the last one to arrive, and she says that she was expecting like custom clothes, but she said it looks like Magic City because the designer does do a lot of stripper outfits and stuff like that. They go over what they want. To sum it up, XSCAPE wants sexy, and I don't know what that word I wrote is. Oh, tight, I guess, tight and sexy. And SWV wants sexy but comfortable. Tamika brings up her sister and says she's the Diana Ross of the group. Shade. So she might want something a little different. Tamika lets it be known that she didn't like the last few designs from their designers, so she has been using a different stylist. The ladies then proceed to go back and forth in front of the designer about who should end the show. And I don't care. Jay's face, looking exactly like his mother, was my face, because I don't understand why you would do this in front of the designer. I don't even understand why this is an issue. We see them talk again about the follower stuff. And the follower stuff is not relevant to me. In my opinion, followers do not equal sales. And I'm going to say, for me, why. I follow Kandi. At one point, I was following Tiny. I have no desire to go to an XSCAPE show. Like none. But I follow them. But I don't follow them because of XSCAPE. I follow them because I enjoyed Tiny them on Family Hustle and the other shows that I've seen, and I've enjoyed Kandi on Housewives. Didn't have anything to do with the musical group, which I honestly feel like a lot of their followers have nothing to do with the musical group. So you continue to bring up the followers, and I'm not saying that they can't make these sales, but the followers doesn't matter. What matters is what you actually bring. So what they need to do is they need to have people, when they're buying their ticket, say hit the XSCAPE button or hit the SWV button. End the debate. Do it for a few cities and see what you get, and then shut up about it, because I'm over it. Tiny says their show is bigger. She saves them and says they wear like what did she say, flats and overalls. It's not a good look. I don't like it. because of the back and forth, Coco gets frustrated. She says, look, we're not going to go back and forth at the end of the day. Y'all want to do yours. We want to do ours. So we should do our show. You should do your show. And that's how it could be. Tamika says, you know, what did she say? And she repeats it. And she tells her that she's childish. And I feel like at this point, all of you guys are childish because people are too worried about headlining and not headlining. And in her confessional, Coco does said part of the problem is ego. And I hope when she says that, she realizes that it's on all sides. The problem is the tone was set for this to be a chaotic show when from day one, when you're sitting down with each other, and although beforehand, before you started filming and you met with production and you did whatever you did, it was agreed that you all would co-headline, and then you came into the meeting trying to headline. From that point on, it was down because the level of trust was broken just off of that. XSCAPE then meets up at the studio where they're supposed to be having a meeting, and Tiny's like, who wants to start? As always, Tasha doesn't understand what there is to talk about, but we find out that one of the promoters that they've used for multiple shows, apparently, has been paying Rocky extra money aside from XSCAPE. Tamika tells Tasha that her husband has been dealing with a promoter and getting a kickback. Tasha says, what do you mean? No one's been getting a kickback from the promoter, Tamika. As she's squinting, and what I've realized about Tasha from some of these interviews and stuff is that whenever she begins to tell her lie, when somebody says something, informs her of something, she does that squinting face. We then see Tamika provide the paperwork from the promoter showing copies of text messages as well as payments. In one of the text messages that Bravo shows us on the screen, we see where Rocky says that I showed my wife that you sent me $10,000 already. I will need $20,000 for all 4 ladies. So the problem is that Rocky has been making a side deal with this particular promoter that we have proof of for these different shows that the ladies have had. Tasha says it makes no sense and that the guy could be making it up. Tasha's not even really reading through the paperwork. She's like, what, huh? What, huh? What, huh? Read it. The same way when Tiny got the paper and Tiny was looking at the paper and Tiny started reading the paper, read the paper. The paper tells you all you need to know. But you're so accustomed to defending and debunking whatever is said about your husband that you don't even wait to see or read what it is and inform yourself before you're already like, no, it couldn't be Rocky. Where has that gotten you? Tasha says it makes no sense and the guy's making it up. Tasha asks, are you guys actually trying to say that I did this? And Candy says, your husband did. You and your husband, y'all are one. Now, she did say on her live, and I quote, I know everything, as she squinted, that goes on with my husband. So if you know everything, did you know this? Now, I don't know if Tasha knew that Rocky was doing this, because I don't think Tasha knows everything. I think that Rocky does a lot of things behind Tasha's back. I think that Rocky did do it. Maybe Tasha knew, maybe she didn't. But the point is, he's been getting an extra kickback from their performances. He does not manage XSCAPE. And even in the message the promoter showed, it says, I will talk to my wife and she will make sure that all the ladies are there. She will get it done. Sounds just like Rocky. Rocky has been a thief all his life. Rocky, in the first episode, talked about how he was able to get this for his son and he was able to get that. And then he said, Rocky hasn't done anything. Tasha's done everything. And Tasha, baby, you gonna sell. You're gonna sell records. There will be people who support you, including your group members. They're gonna support you. But I'm gonna be honest, this isn't a good look, sis. It's not a good look. And more things keep coming out about Rocky. Maybe we'll stop talking about him once this stuff is over, because we weren't thinking about him before you guys started to do this show. But you need to detach yourself from him. And part of that detachment, to me, means that you need a new manager. Because when we see you and him together, we're always going to remember all this foolishness. There's no way around it. Thanks for joining me. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for growth. We're growing. My channel's growing and I appreciate you. Still don't know where I'm going with it, but we'll see. Until next time.